I'm making this video against what people might consider to be better judgment. Men aren't supposed to be emotional. Men aren't supposed to cry. Men aren't supposed to do all sorts of things, be vulnerable. But I'm not here to deal with social constructs. I'm here to deal with reality. And the reality is there's way too many people that are sad. And there's way too many people that are sad because of the judgment and opinions of other people. And there's way too many people writing a story about themselves in their own mind based on the opinions of other people. And so yeah, let's talk about better judgment for a second. How do we rate judgment? How do we rate the people who are judging us? Who are the people that are judging us? What are they saying to us? But most importantly, what are we saying to ourselves? And are these people's opinions writing a story that we're telling ourselves that's not true? And I know that's what was happening to me. And I don't want to preach to anyone. People give me advice for years on how to stop wanting to die and how to stop hating myself and thinking I was too ugly and how to stop sabotaging things in my life. And all that advice never meant anything. It did mean stuff. I knew it was true, but I couldn't take the advice. I'm not here to preach to anyone, but I am here to tell you that 4 months ago, I packed up my entire house and put it all as close to my front door as possible to make it easy as possible for my friends and family to get my stuff out when I took my own life, and I was ready to do it. The last thing I packed up was my recording studio, and before I did, I decided that why not finally do something, make a song before I take my life, just one last thing. That ended up being the thing that saved my life. But I had written a note, I guess you can call it a suicide note. I had started about a year and a half before that. I'd been revising it for a year and a half. I finally got it ready, and that was the kind of the last thing I wanted to do before I packed the house up. And I made this note, and I really, truly believed that whole time that this note was going to ease the burden for people, that people could read these things and say, oh my God, Matt was suffering. Look at the way he listed this stuff out. Look how concise this is and how it makes total sense. Maybe it would make them cry less, and that there'd probably still be tears, but that they would maybe understand, because of these words that I wrote. And yesterday, I read it, and I realized what a bunch of bullshit that it was. Absolute trash. Every word of it was nonsense. Nonsense based on, and now looking back, I can't even put myself in that situation, how I could think that any of that was legitimate. That my body was broken, that my mind was broken, my heart was broken, that I had nothing to look forward to in this life, and that it was just over. Like, what was I talking about? So what I realized is people can tell you anything that they want, but if they don't really know you, how can they tell you things? Someone told me not that long ago that I should quit playing music and just like play by a campfire sometimes and just like make it a hobby and not make it like my mission and my passion. And I chose not to do that, and since then I've had so many beautiful experiences with playing different instruments with some of the most amazing musicians I've ever met or ever been around or ever even heard, and some of the best times of my life because I believed in myself. And it wasn't that my friend was telling me anything out of hate. It was he thought that I should get a job and do what he thought I should do because of his limited perspective of what I was capable of. The thing is, if we live in our lives based on the expectations or the restrictions of others, then we are nothing more than the figment of someone else's imagination. And what I mean by that is the version of Matt that wasn't good enough at music doesn't really exist. It only exists in someone's mind, which is the reason they gave me the advice they gave me out of love. People can give you advice out of love that isn't the right advice for you because they don't know you. But what if we don't also know ourselves? What if the advice that we're giving ourselves is based on a narrative that's false? 4 months ago, I thought that I was worthless and hopeless, and there was nothing to look forward to, and now I'm the happiest and healthiest I've ever been in my life in 4 months. 2 weeks ago, I was heartbroken by someone who completely almost could have destroyed me. And instead of listening to the narrative of oh wow, well, she chose this person who's on a way lower vibration than I am over me. That means I'm on lower vibration. That's not true. It's not like, but also, if that's not true, then why is the narrative we're telling ourselves true? Maybe it's not. And so I've realized that none of that shit that I was telling myself for so long was true. How dare I, someone who doesn't know me, doesn't know what I'm capable of, how dare I tell myself that I'm not good enough to do something? How dare I almost take away a friend from all of my friends? How dare I almost take a family member away from all of my family members? How dare I? Who the fuck was I to think that I wasn't good enough? Who the fuck was I to think I was too ugly to look people in the eyeballs? Who was I to think any of this negative shit about me that wasn't true and let that dictate my inaction over the last 40 years of my life? Never doing anything, all my self-doubt leading to inaction, and my inaction leading to more self-doubt, and my self-doubt leading to more inaction, and a spiral of doing nothing. 2 weeks ago, I was an out-of-shape addict who was heartbroken and thought, love is not for me. And 2 weeks later, I'm the happiest and the healthiest I've ever been because I focused on myself and I realized that the answers are within myself and they're not based on anyone else's ideas or thoughts of me. And I don't even have the perfect perspective of myself because I think something a lot of people do is use other people's opinions. And, you know, there's people who don't feel beautiful. Well, you know, you don't really get to say that because the person you see in the mirror, when you're looking in a mirror, you're just seeing what you see, whatever face that you're making while you're doing your makeup or your hair or whatever the hell you're doing. That's what you see. You don't get to see when your favorite song comes on, your eyeballs light up and you get the smile that might be the most beautiful smile to someone, but you don't get to see that because there's no mirror in front of you when you get to listen to your favorite song. Other people get to experience your joy too. Please don't let the expectations, the opinions of other people dim your shine to keep you from having joy that could be beautiful to someone else or to be beautiful for yourself. You know, I don't want to say fuck other people because people are important. We're social creatures and we need other people. But we're not going to attract other people if we're living like I was living, where I didn't believe in myself. People used to tell me all the time, they would say, you can't love yourself, or you can't love someone else until you love yourself. And I didn't believe them. I'm like, I love the shit out of these people. They just don't love me back. That's not what they mean. It's not that you can't love. Of course you can love. What they mean is that you can't love in a sustainable way if you don't love yourself. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't take care of someone else. Like what I used to do, put all of my self-worth into what someone else's opinion is, and if they don't love me, then I have nothing. I can't have nothing. The story we write, we're the authors of our story. We can let people help us. We can let people be parts of our story, but we can't ever let someone take the pen. We've got to take the pen. Something that happened last night, I was at a concert watching a bunch of my friends play with one of my friends' girlfriend, also my friend, Abby Webster, who, check her out, she's about to blow up. She's one of those amazing songwriters. People like her don't exist often in this world. There have been very few, someone who can sing and write music the way she writes. Her poetry to her songs is some of the most beautiful, and her voice is beautiful, but I want to focus on the poetry. She invited her dad up to play a song, and before we started, he said, you know, as a dad, when my daughter went to college, she got a philosophy major, and I was like, what the hell is she going to do with a philosophy major? What kind of job is she gonna get? What is she gonna do? And he said, I'm sitting here tonight listening to these beautiful songs that my daughter's written and watching the reaction of this audience. Wow, what a proud moment as a dad. This is what she's doing with the philosophy major. Because as a dad, he loves her and he didn't want her to get that major because he thought he knew better for her. But she followed her heart and she got what she got, and now she's making music that's touching people's lives. And what a beautiful moment for him to admit that and to say that. And that's the energy we need to be bringing to each other and to children. People talk about being empaths all the time and empathy, but everyone's only empathetic to certain people or to certain things and we all want to be empathetic to children, but then but all adults are just traumatized children that got older, and we don't treat people that way. We're not treating people with the respect they deserve. We're judging, we're letting that affect people's mental health, If someone makes you feel less than what you deserve because your face or because your body or because of whatever, they ain't on the same vibration. Don't let them pull you down. We're worth so much more than the way that we look. And everyone is so concerned with the way that we look. And I can tell you, as a person who was told at 14 that they were ugly, who had never thought about that before, and who let that affect the rest of their whole life until 4 months ago, it ain't a life worth living, man. There's levels of this shit, as they say. It's a stupid saying, but there's levels of this shit. And anybody that's gonna judge rate a human being on a 1 to 10 scale based on the way that they look, that's some low vibration bullshit. People talk about the value, high value men, high value women, low value men, low value women, body count, this, that, and the other. That's all horseshit. I just think people got the wrong idea about what value is. We all have value. Everyone has value. Don't let some low vibration ass bullshit, like people rating people by numbers based on their facial structure, make you feel that that's what your worth is. That's not true. It's not true at all. Just never let anyone dim your shine because of their shitty opinion. Don't let their opinion of whether you're good enough or not, or pretty enough or not, or handsome enough or not, or whatever, enough or not. That's all bullshit. It's all just some construct, and that's why everyone wants to focus on everyone else all the time, because no one wants to look at themselves. All the answers are within ourselves. We have to believe in ourselves. That's the number one thing. That's the number one thing I've learned. People can give you advice out of love. It might not be the right advice for you. People can have opinions based on things that you show them, but that doesn't mean that's the best you can do. We can all do better. I'm not going to sit here and preach and act like I have all the answers or anything. I can't tell everyone how it's going to work for them, but I do know for a fact that in 4 months you can go from thinking that your life is over and you have nothing to live for to being the happiest and the healthiest you've ever been in your life. I know that for a fact because it happened to me. I know for a fact that in 2 weeks you can go from feeling out of shape and unhealthy and heartbroken and miserable to feeling the happiest and the best and the healthiest you've ever felt in your life. It takes a lot of work. I can't tell you how to do it. Like I said, for me it was a hip-hop song, a large dose of Peruvian healing medicine called dimethyltryptamine, and a really profound experience that showed me exactly what I needed to do, and a copious amount of exercise and a complete change in my diet and lifestyle. But that path isn't going to work for everyone. I can't tell you how to do it. I can just tell you that it's possible. It's possible to hate yourself for 40 years and want to be someone different for 40 years and not want to live in this world for 40 years, and in a matter of a couple months be the happiest, healthiest, and have some of the most beautiful experiences you've ever had in your life when you thought your life was over. That's possible because I've done it, and I'm not trying to be on a high horse and say, look at me. I'm trying to say, look at you. Like, if I can do this shit, if this person can get healthy, if this person can go from being an addict, a suicidal addict, to the happiest I've ever felt, after 2 weeks ago feeling some of the saddest I've ever felt, and 4 months ago getting to the point where I almost took my own life. And so I'm going to share the suicide note because I want you to see how much bullshit it is. I wasn't ever obviously going to show this to anyone, but I like all these things have been leading me to this direction where I feel like it's my duty now to show people that you can feel this way and then 4 months later feel completely different, have all these beautiful experiences that never would have happened if I'd ended it. It never would have happened. And thank God it didn't happen. Thank God I didn't do that to my family, my friends, or myself. Please don't give up on yourself. Please believe. I'm telling you, if you think you're not good enough for something, that's a story that you're making up in your head. It's a lie. It's not the truth. It's a story you're making up in your head based on bullshit. Change the story, because we hold the pen to our own story. get the philosophy degree. Follow your heart. If people tell you you need to be something, and you feel you need to be something else, be something else. Be true to yourself. You have to be true to yourself. Don't let other people's expectations make you feel you need to do things that don't vibe with you. If you don't vibe with it, don't do it. If you vibe with it, do it. And don't let other people dim your shine. Dim your sparkle. We all have sparkle. We all just need to find it. Find your sparkle. Believe in yourself, please. You can do anything that your heart desires. Well, maybe not some kind of sports thing. You can do most anything your heart desires. Just believe in yourself. Thanks for listening.